This is not Keith Lee's week.
Oh my God, that was you, bro. DDG, bro. DDG, bro. DDG, bro. DDG, bro. DDG, bro. DDG.
I get your content.
DDG, bro.
I get your content.
I thought you were DDG, bro.
If you're unfamiliar with this creator's content, they're known for doing pranks, especially one where they go up to random people saying, oh, you look like X celebrity, X influencer. Usually it results in the person being recorded getting irritated and pushing their creator away. So that being said, Keith Lee responded just like anybody else would. However, a lot of people feel like Keith Lee overreacted and is full of himself. Top comments saying Keith Lee let the fame go to his head, who he think he is. Keith Lee been acting like a buster lately. Why did they actually get so mad? Keith Lee act like he's somebody. Keith Lee showing his true colors nowadays. A lot of those comments are coming in response to the whole Rosegate situation that happened at the BET Awards. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just click my last video before this one. Basically, some people feel like Keith Lee has been on an ego trip ever since that whole mix-up happened where Taraji P. Henson didn't know who he was. However, it looks like this video was recorded before the BET Awards actually happened, and I feel like Keith Lee responded just like anybody else who was dealing with a random person coming, shoving a camera in their face, calling them a name that is not theirs. Considering he has social anxiety and used to be an MMA fighter, oh boy better be lucky Keith didn't give him that left hand, right hand special.
Meth is married, are you? Are you? Hi, how are you? Mr. Keith Lee, I know what you're thinking right now. This is about a 10.9 out of a 10.
Oh my God.
I got caught up in my own inner monologue. I'm so sorry. You're thinking this is a 10.9 out of 10.
Let it go, girl.
My bad. You fine too, so call me. Give him his flower.
So y'all, why didn't y'all tell me about him? Why didn't y'all never tell me about him, bruh? I'm thinking this whole time, he just like a food critic or some shit. But nah, that's not the case, bruh. That's not the only thing this man do, or did. You mean to tell me he was in a UFC or MMA? Either one of them? I did not know. I'm thinking he just a regular schmo. Nah, my man got hands and knees. Bruh, look at this man. He not just good at doing food reviews, he good at it up too. Keith Lee out here it up. This whole time I had no idea, bruh. This man know how to fight. So y'all come up on, so y'all better think twice when it come to fucking with this man. I did not know he can fight, bruh. My boy real life went from beating people ass to doing food reviews, bruh. This is crazy, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down below in the comments. Did y'all know he used to fight?
Joke's on you. We actually gate kept out the good places. So we got one on you, Keith Lee. You didn't tell us that our city sucked. We actually knew you were coming and we tricked you. We sent you to all our bad places, so we win. Best city for food ever.
Keith Lee needs to hire a cultural curator or someone to research the cities that he's going to. Because how do you go to Washington, D.C. and go to 12 restaurants and not be able to find good food?
I know we only posted about 3 spots from Washington, but we went to about 12, and we made a decision as a family and as a team, and also a personal decision to not post most of them. So out of those 12, I probably only got like 1 or 2 more that I'm gonna post.
Again. A fucking again.
Y'all gotta stop treating Keith Lee like he's the patron saint of food, because he's not. I've had beef with Keith Lee ever since he went to New York and ate a fish chopped cheese from Bodega.
And last but not least, the Too Smooth, which is the salmon chopped cheese. I'm gonna start with this one. It's salmon, cheese, sauce, lettuce.
Between the Nigerian, Ethiopian, Eritrean, Ghanaian, and Senegalese people in DC alone, that's 100 restaurants right there that you could go get an adequate and good amount of food from, let alone all of the people in the actual DMV, which is inclusive of Baltimore, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. There's so much food you could have gotten. With a bigger platform comes a greater responsibility. When he first started off his food reviews, it was just to become a content creator. And now it's grown to these food tours. I think Keith Lee's bigger goal is to have a larger production or TV show or something highlighting his expertise in food. But he's not an expert, and neither is he a foodie. He's dependent completely upon people giving him recommendations or reviews or whatever people are sending for him to go check out these places. While there's an altruistic proponent included in what he does, essentially, he needs to hire someone to go through all of the DMs or all of the messages and do market research on the restaurants. Do market research on where to go, what people are saying. Interview people in cities that, you know, are revered as cultural curators, food critics, food reviews. Because to go to Washington, D.C. and say you can't find food, this is also after going to New York and having the worst food, going to Houston and having bad food. There's a common denominator here, and it's not the places you're going to. I'm a believer that you can find good food anywhere you go. But when you're going to metropolises, especially in the northeast of America, which have the most diverse cultures, diverse food, diverse ingredients, and the most immigrants, between the American food and the immigrant food, there's no way you can't find a phenomenal food.
Guys, I think I finally figured out the problem with Keith Lee. The issue is that we've been so used to seeing people go from being viral to being famous, which rarely even ever happens nowadays, but he made it through that pipeline. People get famous, we see them lose all manner of sense, all manner of morals, all manner of values immediately. But then Keith came along and he has maintained integrity, and his integrity is holding other institutions accountable, because the thought is, if I can just get Keith Lee in my restaurant, we'll blow up. But then the problem with Keith is, in order for Keith's magic to work for you, you actually have to be an upstanding restaurant. You actually have to be a restaurant that treats all your customers the same, because he's never going to come in and be like, I'm Keith Lee. He has integrity, and we as a society are not used to seeing that. When people get famous, they immediately go left. And Keith has proven, which also I think is a good lesson for content creators nowadays, is that you actually don't have to lose your morals when you get famous. Like, you actually don't have to lose your sense when you get clout and when you become a household name. You can actually maintain integrity. If anything, that's how you become a household name, by maintaining integrity, by maintaining just having a standard of value. And so now people are big mad. I saw this stupid tweet yesterday that was like, kids don't even know how to use his clout. And that's why you would never have clout, because you think that clout means I get to act a fool, I get to do whatever because I'm now a household name. Soon, if Keith Lee actually had that type of attitude about him, he would never have gone where he was, or he wouldn't have been able to sustain it. But now, because of this, anytime he's not trending, his integrity speaks well for him. So I hope that this will be a sign for all my content creator babes, that if you're ever worried about, like, how do I keep both? Because it seems to be that in our world, you can get a bag faster if you step on people's toes, or, just go the shorter route and just kind of get shit done quick. Let Keith Lee be proof that if you just keep doing what you're doing and you learn how to cater to the people, cater to your audience, baby, it's only a matter of time. You're going to pop off, and pop off well and respectably and with godliness. Shout out to Keith. He is my GOAT.
It seems like the Keith Lee effect has worn off. Somehow society is now turning on him. They don't like the way he talks. They don't like the way he looks. They don't like the way his voice sounds anymore. And apparently it's giving fake all of a sudden. Currently, Keith Lee is facing an ample amount of backlash for his DMV visit and his commentary and what he had to say about the restaurant scene in the DMV. But before we get started, my name is btaylortv, and welcome to my channel, where you're going to get different perspectives and deep dives into trending topics, controversial situations that's going to help you further your journey in this place called life. I mean, I doubt Keith Lee needs any introduction, but he is very well known on TikTok as a food critic, where he travels all across the state trying out different restaurants and different neighborhoods, specifically mom and pop shops that a lot of people may not know about. And he rates their food through 1 to 10 and giving his personal opinion about the food service, the quality of food, and the taste. I mean, Keith Lee blew up on TikTok almost about 2 years ago. He was an MMA fighter who has turned into a popular food critic. I mean, his reviews are so popular and so impactful that it's called the Keith Lee effect. I mean, Keith Lee was like the perfect man to a lot of people. He's married. He treats his wife very well. He shows her off and showers her with love and affection publicly. We have had no scandals out of him. And not only that, he is a man of God, and he always put his Christian values first. So Keith Lee is somebody who spreads positivity. I mean, yes, he may rate things and have his critiques, but overall, they've been mostly positive, and his impact has been so powerful where it has brought tears to a lot of business owners' eyes, a lot of struggling mom and pop business owners who just needed a chance for somebody to come along and actually make an impact. And he has came to my city before, and a lot of people wanted to know, hey, how is this little food shop place? I've never heard of it. I've seen it. I may have passed it by, and I never thought anything of it. I remember him coming to my city trying out a dessert shop. And Keith Lee is not fond of desserts, but he tried out a woman's dessert where she sells banana pudding in Houston. And when I tell you, he changed her life forever because she was there by herself. Her business was so slow where she didn't even have employees other than her daughter helping her out because the business was so slow. And Keith Lee literally changed her life. This woman was not prepared to the point where his impact was just so powerful. People called it the Keith Lee effect. A lot of people put a lot of trust in Keith Lee's reviews and they saw how much positivity he brings. So a lot of business owners are very excited when he comes to their neighborhood or he's visiting their city. But it seems like things started to take a turn when he went to visit Atlanta, Georgia, and he had a lot of things to say about a lot of these Black-owned restaurants and the services and the inconvenience that they have for their customers. And quite frankly, I'm not mad at him because as someone who has gone to a lot of Black-owned businesses, they do have their flaws. And as long as we're not addressing those flaws, they're not going to get better at their customer service, which means less people are going to visit those places and they're eventually going to go out of business. I mean, you cannot get mad as a business owner if someone comes in and did not have a good experience and they're telling you and giving you feedback to get better. But a lot of these Black restaurants and a lot of people who live in Atlanta area felt like, hey, you're knocking our Black-owned businesses. You know how hard it is as a Black-owned business to thrive in such a large city. But at the same time, do you want a business to thrive because they're Black, or do you want them to thrive because they're actually good and they provide good service and they treat their guests and customers with respect and the service that they deserve? I mean, the Atlanta controversy got so bad where he actually had to leave the city because he was getting death threats. That controversy soon got swept under the rug and people moved on, and he continued to make great impact on people and their lives. But it wasn't until the BET Awards, which is Black Entertainment TV. He went to the award show where they invited him and his wife. And there was a controversy between him and Taraji P, where she thought that she was talking to Keith Lee, but she was talking to somebody else. And then people were talking about how she was flirting with him and how the wife was looking disgusted and she felt disrespected. And he took a stand and saying, you know what? I'm not doing this for clout. I don't need this, but if you're gonna approach me, know my name. And it was just a lot of people who have a lot of respect for Taraji P. Henson, and they didn't like his response. They felt like he was being entitled. They felt like he was being a spoiled brat. They started telling him, who do you think you are? Against someone like Taraji P. She's a legend. Taraji P is a legend in the Black community. So how dare somebody who's just a quote unquote TikToker try to insinuate that she disrespected him? So after the BET Awards, there was another comedian or Instagram comedian who was calling him DDG and got up in his face and was like, DDG, DDG, DDG. And then he wanted to look like, people are forgetting. This man used to be an MMA fighter. Keith Lee may look sweet on the outside and he may do sweet things, but understand those hands ain't so sweet, okay? And people had negative things to say about that. Oh my God, he can't take a joke. Oh my gosh, he's so annoying. I don't like him. He's getting too full of himself. Now keep that in mind. So then the recent controversy is when he went to the DMV and he was not pleased with the restaurant scene. He felt like because he doesn't drink and because he doesn't really party, a lot of the scene he did not enjoy. He did not enjoy the food, and he made it known that most of these restaurants cater to, people who drink. And I'm not going to lie, when you go to a restaurant that's turned up and you're drinking and the food may not be as good or it's a little subpar, but when you're drunk, anything tastes good. I'm not going to say anything, but most things going to taste good and you're going to let a lot of things slide. The chicken may not be as crispy as it needs to be, or it may be too seasoned, but when you're drunk and you're getting that sodium in your body and you're feeding yourself, you're not going to think too much in that because you're drunk, right? He was saying as somebody who does not drink, he expects quality service and quality food. But when you mix drinks and service and the quality of food, he was just not pleased. And he was like, look, this is not worth it. But one thing I can respect about Keith Lee is that he left without calling out the owners that he was not pleased with. He was not pleased with the food. He felt like it was not good. The quality was not good. The service was not good, but he did not put anybody on blast. I mean, he could have been like Mr. Chime Time. Well, Mr. Chime Time is about that life. He's about that time. Keith Lee, on the other hand, is like, look, I know my words matter to a lot of people. So therefore, I'm going to be careful with the power that I have. But a lot of people were not pleased about that. They're like, yo, why you coming to my city, disrespecting my city? Now you making us look bad. Now you coming over here getting too big of yourself. You feeling yourself too much. Who do you think you are? Let's ponder on that for a second. Who do you think you are? And when he said, my name is Keith Lee, get it correct? Then society says, who the hell do you think you are? You're just a TikToker. Where do you get off mouthing off like this? All you do is review food. And matter of fact, I don't even like the way you talk. I don't even like the way you look. I don't like the way you act like you're better than me. I don't like him. And that just shows you a lot about society, is that a lot of influencers, when you build them up, they do get big-headed. They do get to a point where they become, very narcissistic and very full of themselves. But I don't think this is the case with Keith Lee here. I don't think Keith Lee is becoming full of himself. I think he's also creating boundaries, and he's standing on those boundaries by saying, hey, I'm not going to just be saying, oh, yeah, let me try this place out. It's so good for pay. No. And that's why people love Keith Lee, because he was authentic and he was truthful and people trust his word. So as someone who is powerful with his words and powerful with his impact, why are you guys not having respect for Keith Lee? And honestly, a lot of the people that say, I don't know, it's just something in my speech. It's something about him that triggers me. You need to ask yourself, what is it about this man who's trying out food and giving his opinion, okay? His personal opinion. You don't have to take his personal opinion. You don't have to watch his content, but for some reason, him giving his personal opinion about food bothers you so much. I mean, that's why people love Keith Lee. He wasn't a food critic. He wasn't a professional food critic who went to school and was a chef and all this other stuff, or a restaurant owner. He was just an average person like everybody else, giving his take on certain foods that he liked to eat. I mean, he doesn't eat shellfish and he doesn't drink. So he may not serve a lot of people who do indulge in those things, but at the same time, give respect where it's deserved. He has stayed true to his word and to himself. He continues to show his family love and dedication every day, and he's appreciative of his audience. I mean, Keith Lee is not going to like every restaurant that he goes to. And let's be honest, a lot of Black-owned businesses need to do better. If we don't talk about it, it's not going to look good for us in the future, and these places are going to soon go out of business. I mean, I went to restaurants here in Houston and it felt like I'm at the club. Black-owned restaurants. Why am I standing outside waiting to get inside and there's security telling me, wait, you got to wait outside? Like I'm outside the club. I'm like, I don't even want to come back here. Oh, don't even get me started with the service and the added gratuity. I mean, the service in Black-owned businesses are so trash that they know that they have to add gratuity. It doesn't matter if you're a party of 2 or a party of 6. It's going to be 20% gratuity added to your tab, regardless of what kind of service you get. So when you have a service industry where waiters and servers don't have to really give you the best service because they're going to get their 20% cut anyway, that just makes it worse. And on the flip side, as someone who used to wait tables, I understand because it's a Black-owned business. And let's be honest here, statistically speaking, and as someone who's worked in the industry, most people in my community do not tip, or they don't know the tip etiquette. They feel like, no, I don't have to tip you. I'm doing you a favor. Okay. That is something that I mostly hear in my community, and people stand on that. So people don't really believe in tipping. A lot of people feel like $5 is good enough. I've had to teach my own parents and my uncles and my aunts how to correctly tip. Like, you really enjoyed this person's service, and they made sure that your cup was full. They made sure that your water was filled up. They made sure you had ice. They made sure your food was hot and everything was correct. They made sure your chips and your salsa never depleted. And all you do is leave them a $5 on $100 tab. And then you get mad and say, well, find another job. No, what's going to happen is that restaurant is going to add a 20% gratuity, and all of that hospitality that you love so much is going to go down in quality. And that's just someone speaking with experience in this industry. So going back to the Black-owned businesses, they really do need to get better. I mean, nowadays, I don't even go to a lot of Black-owned businesses. I've tried to go and support them, but the wait and the inconvenience and the shitty service that I'm getting, and then if they got my food wrong, oh, it's my fault for some reason, and they're still gonna say, well, do you want this? Or let's talk about how long it takes for the food to come down. Let's talk about the quality, and let's talk about bottle service. Let's talk about, oh, this table is reserved. Like, most Black-owned businesses, in my experiences, has felt like I went to a club. It didn't feel like I was going to wine and dine at a really nice restaurant. It's a different atmosphere. And as much as I want to support my people, things need to be called out. I mean, do y'all want to get better? Or do y'all not want y'all feelings hurt? I mean, which one is it? So I don't mind Keith Lee sticking to his authentic self. And I think a lot of people who don't like his energy are just negative people, because this is a man of God. This is a man that values his Christian values. This is a man that values his family and treats his wife really correctly. He does not disrespect his wife even when the industry try him and try his wife, he comes correct every time. He's a protector and he's a provider.
Who is the one star celebrity that you would most like to link up with? Maybe go grab some food together?
My wife. Yeah, as long as me and my wife can go sit in the car, eat some food, I'm more than happy. I don't really do celebrity hangouts, none of that. Anybody that I hang out, anybody you see me with is a friend of mine, is somebody that...
I don't understand what makes you feel so icky about him. I mean, I think also I heard people say that in the past, he said that him and his wife is slightly on the spectrum, and that's maybe why he talks the way he talks. But Keith Lee doesn't bother me. Keith Lee, keep doing what you're doing. And if you're bothered by Keith Lee, you really need to look at yourself of why you're so bothered by somebody who's mostly positive. Okay. It's like society likes to build people up when they feel like they're close to that person, or that person is not as high on the ranks, or their words are not as powerful as it is, until they don't benefit you anymore. Until you can't please society anymore, or do what they want you to do, or society can't control you and control how you act and control how you take a joke and control your emotions. All of a sudden now they demonize you. And this is the thing. This is one thing that I'm learning from Keith Lee. People are not going to like you. There are people who are going to like you, and there are people who are not going to like you. There are people who's going to love everything that you say and agree with your content. And those are your people. Those are your tribe. Those are the people who matter, because those are the people that's a part of your community. Okay. And then you got the other people that say, well, I don't like this and I don't like that. Okay. Well, don't watch it. Why do I need to hear about how much you don't like somebody who's making a positive impact on most business owners? I mean, 90%, I will say even 95% of his content has been so positive and so impactful. And for some reason, that makes people angry. That should tell you, if you're doing something right now that you love and you're worried about what other people think, and you think, oh my God, people are going to think this sucks. Like, you want to be a content creator and you want to make a video, or you want to do food reviews, or you want to do your artwork, and you're scared what other people have to say about it. F those people. People are going to say it. They may think that your artwork look like trash. They may think that you're awkward on camera, but there's always going to be an audience that is for you, that may be just like you. And then your words are so powerful and impactful to them that you build your own community. You are not not meant to people please. You are not meant to please the majority of people out here. I mean, Keith Lee has been doing him and is attracted because of his positivity, because of who he is. It has attracted a majority of people on TikTok, which is also attracted the negative people who are watching with hateful, evil eyes and that are hating on a sideline and waiting for any slip up. They're watching him and waiting for him to slip up on any moment where people kind of like, I didn't really agree with that. Yeah, I didn't like him anyway. Blah, blah, blah. Because you definitely have secret haters. There's people that be watching you that secretly hate you. I mean, I'm pretty sure I got people that watch me and listen to my videos all the time, and they secretly love to hate me, and that is fine too. God bless those people. But at the end of the day, let Keith Lee do him. And in my Britney Spears fan voice, leave Keith Lee alone. All right, guys, until next time, let me know your comments down below in the comment section. What do you think about Keith Lee? And I would be surprised if you don't even know who Keith Lee is. Tell me if you don't know who Keith Lee is. And what do you think about the Black restaurant industry? What do you think about the DMV? What do you think about Atlanta scene? What do you think about Keith Lee overall in general? And also, what do you think about society building people up only to tear them down when they no longer are fitting in the glass box that a lot of people put them in? All right, until next time, bye.